Well, thanks for joining us, Dave. I'll just talk a little bit about, we didn't get much chance to talk. It's been a busy week for you. But finally, no distractions. January transfer window over, done and dusted. Back to work again.
Yep. Well, it's always at work. It's just the incessant nature of what, Christmas with the games and with the lead up to the transfer window, and obviously the whole of January, what that brings. So, yeah, I think we've had a fairly successful one in my book. I suppose time will tell whether it's going to be really successful or just okay. So, back to work. The phone's not quite stopped ringing, but it's nowhere near as busy. But there's other things to crack on with now, so as well as the games. So that's the relentless nature of football management.
How tough was it for you, Dave, the January window? We'll talk a bit about your options that you've been able to bring in. But you've been in it a few times now since you've become a manager. Was this the toughest?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. January is always harder than the summer. So that's the first thing. 4 years ago it was all a bit of a whirlwind, but not. It was what it was, and I'd missed the first 8 days, so that's always a blessing. In the last 2 years, they certainly weren't like this last month. I have to say, it was tough. It was really tough, but that's what we're in it for. So you have to do what's right and what's best, and make decisions that you hopefully will improve the team, and hopefully, like I said, that's what we've done. Time will tell.
You netted over £1 million with your two fullbacks that went in the January window. Was there a worry? Was there a concern that others might have been on the market for the other clubs to take away from you?
All our players were available to buy. We don't sell them. Other clubs buy them. We make no secret of that. There was a significant offer from a League One club for one of the players. The player didn't want to go, and we didn't want to lose him. So it was a no-brainer, and that was the end of that.
So just now, generally looking at the options that you've got with you now, with your squad, well pleased with what you've got available to take you towards the end of the season?
Yeah. And I wouldn't tell you anyway if I wasn't. Of course. That's what January's for. To improve and get better. It's an opportunity. And hopefully that's what we've done. There's always you always want more as a manager, of course. But sometimes that's not possible through either availability or resources or both. Or other clubs as resources. We tried to bring a striker in, and another League One club is paying £7,000 a week. We're absolutely nowhere near that. Like moons, light years away from that. That's just the market we're in. It's a brilliant market to be in. Shows how far we've come in 4 years. That's what I believe. Because we're competing against some big clubs and some not big clubs that have been extremely frivolous, which is fine. That's not a criticism. That's just an observation. So, we want to be in them circles. We want to be. We went for a boy who's gone to play in the top division in Turkey for one of the big teams. It shows the kind of caliber of player we're trying to attract to the football club. It also shows that it's extremely difficult because we're losing out to clubs with very big resources or very big teams within Europe. But then that's the world we work in, and that's what we try and do. So I suppose we take heart from the fact that we're trying to get them players, and hopefully one or two ends up through the door.
Well, what you're saying about what you're battling against and what you're looking at, we'll talk a little bit about how the injured players are in a moment or two's time. It leads me into a question where, if you look at the next set of fixtures, I think, Dave, you've got a terrific, tasty, interesting fixture list coming up with all the teams that are around you battling for the honours. What an incentive if you can come through. It starts with Peterborough, of course.
Yep. The next sort of 6 weeks are going to be pivotal. I won't say deciding unless we win them all or lose them all, and even then, I don't think it'll be that much, sort of a final decision. But yeah, the games coming up are good games, and a bit like the transfer market, we want to be having these games. We want to be competing against these teams, and hopefully we come out on the right side of them.
If you turn the clock back a few months, your Peterborough performance against Peterborough at home was up there with the best, wasn't it? You won a lot of plaudits that day. You got everything right, and it's going to be a good game. I think you've won 13 defeats in the league. I think they've only lost one game at home.
Yeah, tasty game. That's what we want to. These are the kind of games we want to be involved in, where it's a bit nip and tuck and two good teams. Because Peterborough are a good team. I'm not sure they did themselves that much justice when we played them at home. And they made us work second half. There's no danger about that. But we've got to make sure we perform to our levels. And if we do, then, as I've said on numerous occasions, we'll give anyone a game in this league. Does it mean we'll win it? Well, that depends, doesn't it? But we'll certainly give everyone a game in this league, and that's got to be the bare minimum. And like I've said before, we respect everyone, and I've got a lot of respect for Darren and the people at Peterborough. But we don't fear anyone. And I think when you sort of use that as your foundation, if you like, then you're going to get a lot of things right. I think that's the way you've got to embrace life, and any challenge that's put in front of you, and the next challenge is Peterborough, and it'll be a tough challenge, because of their form at home especially, and the players that they've got at their disposal. But then, like I said, we don't fear anyone. That's not arrogance in any way, shape or form by a long stretch. We know exactly where we are on the football pecking order and the football ladder. And we're not at levels like Peterborough's of this world. Never mind your Hulls and Ipswiches and Sunderlands of this world. So we know where we are, but we've got to give a good account of ourselves. And if we do, then we'll give anyone a game, and that's what we've got to make sure we do.
We have an update then on the injured players. How things looking for tomorrow? Obviously, the first one we want to know a little bit more about is Ollie Finney. What's the situation there?
Well, he's broke his leg. So
is that right? Is it?
Yeah, he broke his leg.
Well, that's a real blow, a massive blow.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Did it seem that bad when it happened, Dave? Were you were that concerned? Were you?
Yeah, it was a horrific tackle. The referee just ran straight past Ollie, didn't look at him in agony, booked the lad to preventing a problem from the tie. It was a horrific tackle. Horrific tackle. There's one in the first half, I know, man. No maliciousness, not like there was in the tackle from Chapman. It was a horrific tackle. It's the kind of tackle that, we see in the Premier League that's getting cut out. It's all right. It's in the EFL. It's all right. Not a problem. Break people's legs, go around breaking people's legs. It's all right. And there was intent. Nobody will tell me. I've been in the game long enough to know that there was intent. There was 100% intent to hurt him and intent to stop the counter attack. It was a horrific tackle. Referee, yellow card. What do you want? I don't know what else you want me to say.
No, you just hit us there, Dave. That's sickening news, isn't it, for all concerned? Sickening news for everybody.
Yeah. I spoke to Ollie's mum this morning and he's devastated. That's it. We're all devastated for him, and we'll see where we get to. We've had an email from the head of referee saying, yeah, it probably was a red card. No, probably about it. Horrific.
Well, that's knocked them back a little bit, but you've got to plod on. That's the way football is, unfortunately. Billy Jones and Charlie Kirk, can they be with you tomorrow?
Yeah, they're all right. They're all right.
That's the good news. And off the back of what happened the other night at Shrewsbury, you got that clean sheet. You dug in. You showed some real resilience when you needed to. That'll give everybody hope, won't it? Because that'll crop up again as you aim to keep improving in League One.
Yeah, I think a clean sheet was long overdue. We haven't kept one for long enough. Whereas, I said to the boys on Monday, it was never going to be a pretty game at Shrewsbury. Like I said, I've seen them 3 or 4 times this year, and none of the games that I'd seen them play was particularly eye-catching. Their style of play is doggedness, and they're very good at it. I'm not being disparaging. That's their way, and they're very good at it. And the stock team's playing, and you have to accept that at times. So we knew it was going to be a tough game, and a game that probably we weren't always accustomed to playing. But you've got to do it, and the lads I thought was terrific. They applied themselves properly, got his noses in front. Could have scored again with Daniel and a few other half chances, and then restricted them basically to long range shots that were all comfortable. So, I go, well, they might have had the Lions share possession. I can't actually remember them having a chance other than the first 30 seconds. And that's because of the application and the carrying out the game plan. So we knew that it was a real impressive, performance. And we managed to get 3 points off the back of it as well.
Well, if there's anything that you needed to just spur you on to get 3 points in a tough game tomorrow, is what you told us about Ollie Finney, and I'm sure the lads will be all behind that and hoping that they can do that.
Yeah. Well, it's an occupational hazard. The lad gets sent off; it doesn't prevent him breaking his leg. But at least feel a very small crumb of comfort in the fact that there is some punishment for reckless acts. But at the minute, it's quite raw. When he can't feel his leg on the pitch, you're in trouble. His leg's numb. I actually said to the official, he's going to need a stretcher here. He hasn't moved for too long, and I need a tackle, but it's a terrific tackle. The punishment had already just been dished out, so we've got to use it as motivation. Use it, and there's one door closes for Ollie, another one opens for someone else, and we've got to, make sure whoever takes his spot is as effective and as good as Ollie.